up, bust some speakers.
Hey, this is Amy sending love from Cal.
Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
The motherfucking saga continues.
Yo, what's up, world? It's badass thuggin' like I usually do, and you better turn it up, bust some speakers out, cause we off the motherfucking cuff. You dig how we do it? Dog Pound Gangsters 2000 and beyond. Bleh.
What's up with it, y'all? Man, don't change that down. This your player partner, the legendary Cocaine. And you tuned in live to Off the Cuff Radio. Better not touch that down.
Yeah, this is Cassidy, the hustler. And right now, you listening to the Guillotine. Show them the respect they deserve, man. Off the Cut Radio, man. Y'all already know how they doing it, man. I need y'all to stay tuned. They've been doing it for years, so show them the respect they deserve. And you heard it out of bars, mouth. Easy.
Keep it moving like this. Yo, this your boy Rampage. You're not rocking with the best. With Off the Cuff Radio. Classic. History. Fix your face to all you haters. We off the cuff, baby.
What's up, everybody? This your girl, Bonnie Dollars, the Queen of Trap, representing Crenshaw, and you are now tuned in with Off the Cuff Radio. What's up? What's up, y'all? This is Miss Irresistible, giving a shout out to the livest show on Friday nights, Off the Cuff Radio, and I'm live from the 704. Make sure y'all tune in for the blazing hot music.
What it ain't, what it do. It's Chili Chill from that original Lynch Mob. And Off the Cuff Radio, always where it's at on Friday nights. West, y'all.
Sound Master. This is a rolled out exclusive.
Fuck out the room, fuck on my face, they all full of hate. I see that they watching me, know that they plotting. Ambition, resilience, know they can't stop me. Hold me down to no God got me. Fall off, I know Lord got me. Tell them, oh, you better run it back.
Fuck out the room, fuck on my face, they all full of hate. I see that they watching me, know that they plotting. Ambition, resilience, know they can't stop me. Hold me down to no God got me. If I fall off, I know Lord got me. Tell these souls you better run it back. 100 shots, get them niggas off me. Move, fool, fuck out the room, fuck on my face, they all full of hate. I see that they watching me, know that they plotting. Ambition, resilience, know they can't stop me. Hold me down to no God got me. If I fall off, I know Lord got me. Tell these souls you better run it back. 100 shots, get them niggas off me. First class, MIA. Couple weeks for the getaway, finesse the game, no cap, cheesy shit, yeah, motivate. 7 Series, Lexus black, old school, you niggas see these whips. Chug like that me, bitch. Ocean views, now they seasick. No promos, man, fuck them hoes on the back, checked all over this bitch. Get the blick. 50 spit, that's real life, y'all just rap that shit. Gon' trick the bag, you little simp ass bitch, this cups up. Popping bottles, outstanding member, I'm a pimp, bitch. They know what it is. From rags to riches, no going back. Run it up, counting my stacks. Fuck with cheat, this a Willie track. That's DOA for you rap cats. Move, fool, fuck out the way. We ain't talking about cash, I ain't got shit to say. I be fucking these hoes the long way. Bitch swallow me up on the E-way. This time around, I got shit to prove. Fuck these rap niggas, I ain't got nothing to lose. You don't lock with me, I ain't locking with you. Associates and families too. Motherfuckers acting brand new. This down like shit be real, fool. I give him the lick. Give him the bitch, they still throw shit on my name, fool. Now what is he saying? I'm going all in and oppositions turn to friends. You know what it is when a blase in nigga. I'm throwing the rakes, he's throwing the fin. Them niggas gon' lose, but we gonna win. There's 400 shots in the SUV tenant. Switching lanes in the Tesla. Little fuck boys, get your bag up. This cheap drip. Hands up, side no dude. Slanderous. Don Cheese official now. That's 24K with my chalice cup. Perfected flows on the re-up. This one here for Jesus. In preparation for reparation. This for all my people. I know they still see us. I'm backseat, handcuffs. This shit straight from the mud. Illegal thug, stand up. I know they still see us. I'm backseat, handcuffs. This shit here from the mud. Illegal thug, stand up. Move, fool, fuck out the room. Fuck out my face, they all full of hate. I see that they watching me, know that they plotting. That bitch is resilient, know they can't stop me. Hold me down to know God got me. If I fall off, I know Lord got me. Tell these souls you better run it back. 100 shots, get them niggas off me. Move, fool, fuck out the room. Fuck out my face, they all full of hate. I see that they watching me, know that they plotting. That bitch is resilient, know they can't stop me. Hold me down to know God got me. If I fall off, I know Lord got me. Tell these souls you better run it back. 100 shots, get them niggas off me.
I've been putting in the work, out here paying all my dues, taking over everything, get the money cool. Pressure on my back, ain't got nothing left to lose. Keep the family good, that's the #1 rule.
All right. What's the deal? It's your man King Garrett, the media assassin. We are now tuned in to episode 652, live and direct, off the cuff radio. And we got my host T-Max with the facts on the line. What's good?
What it do? Another fantastic Friday on the most outstanding of the freshest frequency on the internet, OTC. That is Off the Cuff Radio. Shout out to our co-host Sincere, L.I. the Sandman, Lady Chinchilla, and of course DJ Sincere, Dirty Basement Radio. And we are live and direct, getting ready to go with it. And shout out to Eris Schroeder, one of our most awesomest and dedicated, devoted supporters of our humble platform. Of UBO Entertainment. Holler at her for all your promotional and editorial needs. King, tell everybody who we got tonight.
Yeah, man, this guy is, as you can tell, is making dope waves in the underground. He's on his steady grind. I think he got about 3 projects that he was currently put out there last year, from what I've heard.
Okay.
But nevertheless, he's a hell of a talent. He got a story to tell. And he's going to let us know what goes on in his world. So let's all welcome Don Chi to Off the Cuff Radio.
What it do?
Yes. Hey, how's it going, players?
Don Chi, what it do, man? How you?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sir.
We can hear you.
Oh, yeah, what's good?
Definitely, man. Look, definitely once again, shout out to Eris for hooking us up with you on this interview and whatnot. And obviously, we have heard nothing but glowing and great things about you in terms of your grind and getting it. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from and how you got in the game.
Yeah, gratitude. Well, I was born in Chicago. I've been a lot of places. But what got me in the game with this music was to do something different, to get away from the streets, because everything changed every day. So, I just had to do something different and just, give everybody a different dose of my experience.
Definitely. North side, south side, 62nd Street. What part of Chicago you repping?
Oh yeah, low end, but I got my stripes out east. I've been out west too. I lived out west too, but the east side most definitely. Stay to the lake, you already know. St. Pacific Coast, Down City.
Man, look, we gotta shout everybody out there, Vice Lords, GDs, everybody out there getting it, man. Doing what they do out there.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So, obviously, being in Chicago rooted you in terms of understanding what was going on the block. In terms of your transition to music, as you said, who are some of your influences that got you into it? And Chicago definitely has a heavy musical legacy. Common, Crucial Conflict, No ID, even with his crazy ass shit, Kanye. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's heavy.
What as far as like my inspiration, as far as like it had to go like at the transition of what I was going through in my life or what I was doing, So if I'm out there hustling, out east, out west, it's just all like twist and do or die. Crucial Conflict, psychodrama, the whole west side, you dig. So but I mostly was out east, I locked with High Beam, which he owned a couple of my joints. He was on one of Twista artists from Legit Baller Records, Cat One out there in the hundreds. So that was shaped but I really didn't listen to Chicago artists because by me being everywhere, jotting here and there, doing the hustle game, I kind of gravitated to New York artists. That was pretty much what it was about with me,
Hmm.
and down south artists as well, and of course the Bay Area, Rapid Forte, Too Short, cats like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
When you in that
Definitely.
you in that epicenter. See, when you're in that epicenter of the Midwest, you get like the best of three regions, so to speak. You get the California, you get Chicago, and you get a little bit of that East flavor.
Yes. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Get it all, and then it was like, Jeezy hit us by storm, you know what I mean? Because I was out there, that was like right there, the whole transition as far as like being in the street, what I mean? Cameron and Jeezy, that whole little Southern movement, T.I. and them, you know what I mean? So it was just pretty much what I was doing in my life, that what pretty much motivated me to do, what I mean, out there, stuff like that, you know?
Absolutely. One thing about it, Don, is when you're making that transition from the streets to the music, uh, I don't think it can be overstated that as well as Chicago is known for its musical contributions, we got to keep it a buck. Chicago was real in them streets.
Oh yeah, all
Old
day.
Chicago. We talking about the old
Yeah,
Chicago, right?
I mean all of it. Period. All of it. Got to keep the head on the swivel because it was like, I would be out east. I would be out east doing my thing out east, but my people lived on the low end. That's dude, you got to pass like 6 or 7 spots before you even get from the low end to out east. And where I live, pretty much they didn't like me anyway. So I mean, we hatched things out, but that was that's G14 classified right there. But I mean,
Understood.
it's
Understood.
it's it's
Understood.
all it's all bad all around. Old, middle, new. I mean, but it's everywhere like that though.
I mean, when we look at the situation, and we can only speak it on this show because of its documented happen. I mean, we know
Right.
how fast beef can change out there and how bad it can get. We look at what happened with FBG Duck. We look at what happened with Lil JoJo. I mean, we've seen the situations with Lil Durk, Chief Keef, G Herbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot that goes on out there. When you, when an artist makes that transition from the streets to the affairs of music, Don, what does an artist have to understand in terms of understanding that number one, this is a job, and number two, you don't want anything interrupting that job?
Yeah, I had it's it's got to what I had to do. I had to learn because I had to leave that there. Literally left that there, and that what catapulted me to lead the whole city, lead the state of
Mm-hmm.
Illinois completely because it is a job. It's a full-time job. Everything had to get restructured. I restructured everything around that because I couldn't do both. I mean, it could do both, but we all know it's hate that come in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Backstabbing. It's even the people that's close to me that would do that. So I had to get away from everything. It's like family involved too. So I had to get away from everything. And by that being a job, you had to, it was overtime. It's like when people sleeping, I'm working. So I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do both. I couldn't be out there, doing what I'm doing, pulling all nighters, knowing that I'm trying to do something else. It's not relatable to both people, you know what I mean? So it's like if I'm out there in the field, so to speak, I'm out there, you know what I mean? It's 4th and 10 every down. It's 4th and 10. But with the music, they don't really want to hear that all the time, every time. So it depends on regional aspects of the whole thing. That's where that came from. So I just left all that alone.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And
And what
understanding.
was that moment? And what was that moment that was like, man, I'm gonna go 100% 10 toes down on just concentrating on the music. Like, what was that pivotal moment that happened to where you like, okay, I'm gonna focus 110% on it?
Um, I my fourth failed assassination attempt, so to speak. Um, yeah, the fourth. By about the fourth one, I got out of like 4 jams, like close calls. That fourth one, I'm like, I'm just gonna have to just straight focus on the music and just leave that alone. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't just one route that I had. I had like 3 routes. So with like 3 routes, it's running them many routes. I mean, it's a lot that comes with the game. So I just had by about the fourth one, I'm like, I'm done. I'm gonna leave that there and just focus on the music and do something different away from the music. And that what brought in the school too. So I had to do something more productive than just wanting to give the system more of my time. There's nowhere in the world I could do that. So I'm like, I just, and then seeing my environment around me, like it had to be something better than this. I know it had to be something better than that.
Absolutely. Tell us about the first time you started writing your rhymes, and ultimately when that would translate into you going to the studio. What was that like?
I used to like with my cousin and we'll just, write, play around, we'll write and then we'll just, I would write and spit over instrumentals and I'm like, yeah, this is good. But it was a certain sound that I had to catch in order for me to like fully invest myself in, through trials and tribulations. I don't think I got a reins on the sound now. So I had to also um not put too much out there for the listeners. It's like I could talk about the experience because I write everything by myself and it's all my experience. So I just had to walk a fine line with doing that. Yeah, that's where that came from.
And tell us about the first time you went into the studio in terms of really seeing everything in front of you and you really get to lay it down on wax in terms of having that professional setting that facilitates your talent to be articulated.
Yeah, the first time I went, it was like the engineer didn't too much know what he was doing because I knew how I wanted to sound and I knew what I wanted it to sound like. It came out like hella distorted or whatever. I'm like, oh well, I don't think it's for me. And my homeboy Haben was like, no, just keep going, keep going. So I'm like, okay, okay, so I kept going and eventually went to different engineers and graduated up the ladder of really fully invested in myself because it's like I can go to any booth, anybody can go to any booth where it's like $20 an hour, but it ain't gonna sound right through
Right.
the engineer. Like my next joint that the next project that I'm working on, I don't mean to get ahead, but I'm gonna bring it back. The
No,
next
go ahead,
project,
please.
it don't sound right. It sound like distorted. So I sent it to the person that like y'all just played Fado. So I sent it to the engineer and he like, oh yeah, it's too distorted. So I have to go back in the booth and redo that. And as far as like the mix and mastering, that's why they clunk you over the head. If it's done right, it has to get done right in order to expand my audience. Because people hear certain things, and I hear certain things in music, and that may be a big turn off or whatnot. So I just had to, bring it back and just do things like that. And I'm like, okay, so if they charging this much an hour, I got to do this because I know how it sound. And the engineer is fully invested. Like, no, I think no, this too many words right here. It's not a word, enough words right there. You saying too many ad libs. You know what I mean? Like my man High being, he be like, no, that sound right, G, but that's too much. No, bring it back. So now I think I got to rein on that. But I'm also committed to just paying what it is to make it sound right in order to get the right audience to listen to it.
Yeah, and that's important. We've had so many guests on our show over the years. We've been blessed to do this. And one thing that is always consistent, that is always a element, is that there are three things. Number one, you got to make this a full-time profession. Number two, you got to be willing to invest in yourself. And number three, you got to be, and by proxy with number two, you have to invest in people that actually know what they're doing in the studio. There are no shortcuts because ultimately when you are presenting your art to the world, it's got to be sounding right.
Right.
When you're looking at it from a perspective of how does one try to find people who really know how to work the studio in terms of the boards, the mixers, uh, even down to the equipment in terms of having the right microphones and the right insulation that facilitates that level of sound that really is clean, that is clear, and it really sets the tone and the vibe for what you were trying to put on, on wax.
Yeah, it's location. That's pretty much the main thing. Location and budget.
Yes,
By
sir.
me,
Yes, sir.
so it's like, I took a trip to Atlanta, you know what I mean, and got the other projects done. But I'm like, that engineer really didn't. I think hip hop ain't, even though oh yeah, he do this for Universal, but it don't sound like how I want it to sound. It don't sound
Right.
how it's how it's supposed to sound. So the guy that I'm with now, I'm like, I'm just gonna be fully invested with him. It may cost a couple dollars more, but I gotta do it bit by bit, and by me being fully invested in myself, other people really ain't too much invested in that until the big thing happened. So when it happened, then if you ain't invested, if you ain't with me now, then don't come with me when it happened. But I think it's location, and even if anyone, whether it's male or female, hip hop artist or singer, if they feel that they need to get somewhere to where they can fully invest in the craft, um, expand your horizon. If you gotta go to a whole nother state to put something down, then do that. Because where I'm at right now, I'm in Minnesota. It's like most engineers don't really know the sound. They're like way behind. They're like behind. So it's tough, but I think I'm locked in with someone, so it's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like you gotta find that way to polish that sound, because the music got to come across as clean as possible.
Exactly.
So tell us about your first project that you dropped, in terms of when you really got the rubber to the road in terms of recording and ultimately releasing.
Sure.
It was My Own Fan. That was the joint. But one of the joints was it was an incident that happened that stemmed one of the songs, Sinatra Flow. So that didn't go. One of my next single off that album didn't go according to plan, so that stemmed Sinatra Flow. So that's when I knew that I was on something, because it's like over there in New York, they still love that to this day. I'm like, I got to make my rounds to go out there, So, and that's when I knew that I was on something with that. So, and what I was expecting my Tropicana joint to like take the whole country and the whole world by storm, is it I lack on promotion. So I'm like, I gotta figure that out. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I knew that I was on something. The second project, Chasing Phantom Fortunes, that was like really spot on, because that got me out there, a lot of recognition out there in Cali. Shout out to VIP DJ VIP out there, so he ran that, and that was like during COVID, but that ran it up, and that got me like connected with some people that got me like Artist of the Year, and I was like, oh, that's what's up. That's when I knew that I can hit the ground running. I got a little Nate Dogg on the Equilibrium, and that was like 8 joints, and I was like, okay, this is still cool, but I knew that I really didn't have my legs up under me the right way. I just knew to keep going, so, and that what got me like focused. Every project, even the recent one, is Chi Not Che. I gotta feel like I need to emphasize that, because people need to say the name correct. And then from there, I got like 5 projects lined up right after that. So it all depends on timing.
Oh man, you were working. Now,
oh yeah.
To revisit what you were saying about when your songs started hitting outside the area, because every artist where they're from is a local artist until they go regional, national, and then even global. What was that like for you, Don, when your music really began to get outside of your area and people really began to recognize and respect your movement?
Yeah, that was a humbling feeling, because I was like, my first thought is like, man, how they ain't locking with this here? And I gave them Elon. I'm like, that's an anthem for the next decade for up here. But they loved it out there in Cali. My people out there in Canada hit me. It was like, my man's in Germany. And then I'm like, damn, this is spots that's not even here in the US. my man down there in Texas. I'm like, okay, so it's everywhere else. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna focus here. I'm gonna focus everywhere else except for where I'm at. And that's been like the mission ever since.
What was your reaction when you start hearing your music played in different regions?
Humbling. It's like that's crazy because I'm like, oh wow, that's what's up. You know, it was yeah, it was a humbling experience. It most definitely was. And I'm like, okay, now I know that I'm doing something right. How can I get that to the next area? How can I get that to the next area?
Now, when you think about when you were talking about the songs that you had, Don, and what you felt was going to hit but didn't, and the ones you didn't expect to hit that did, what does that have to say about the mercurial nature of the industry and how people's listening tastes ultimately are attracted to what an artist may release? Because we've over the years seen so many songs that pretty much came out of nowhere and they became hits.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, like the ones like where I'm at. You know, right now I'm in Minnesota. You know, they love to pride themselves on 10,000 lakes. So I'm like,
Little
okay, that's
Prince,
LA.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you know, that's part of the hood. You know, I ride real clean, no 10 on the whip, 10,000 lakes in the state, 10,000 bags to get. I'm like, man, how do they not know this? But me, I'm thinking in terms of this is a completely different state, and I'm thinking of like hustle terms. So I got to get this up out of here because I think that they may not relate to this here. They ate it up out there in Cali. I was like, shout out VIP. He made that happen. They made it happen down there in Kentucky. One of my homegirls put it out down there in Kentucky. I'm like, okay, that's what's up. You know, and even Sinatra flow, I'm like, man, that's still like the most streamed song out of all my songs. And that's coming from the Bronx in Buffalo, New York. Still to this day, I'm like, man, okay, so that's their flavor. So it's different regions, but I'm like, I just know that I have to get out of where I'm at. I have to think like that way and think like worldwide. I'm not even thinking like my next projects that's coming. I'm not even thinking like in the US base. I'm thinking like hits to where it can be on something in movies and something bigger, not just like some quick for the summer or whatnot.
What do artists have to understand about this being a marathon and not a dead sprint in terms of the tenacity, perseverance, hustle, and most important, patience in terms of it paying off?
No days off. That's one thing they need to know. No days off. And it may not happen overnight, and it may happen overnight. And always trust the process. And I think as far as like what artists need to know, because me, I get discouraged at times. I get discouraged. I just put on my earphones and figure, how can I reattack this? How can I redo this for me, not for what I think everyone wants to hear or to jump on something quick? And that's how most people, from what I've seen, they'll get on something, and then it's like they're hot, and then we don't even hear from them anymore. But they still eating off that one jam. And it's most people that have longevity. So I'm thinking like longevity wise. I'm not thinking of something as quick as, okay, it's hot outside, let me do this. And then I get to sit up in the winter. No, it's no days off. So I'm on here every day, all day. At like 2 or 3 in the morning, I'm up doing this, trying to figure this out. That's what I'm doing. And I think every artist needs to be content with that. Content with it's not going to happen overnight. And if it do happen overnight, don't get lazy.
Mm. And that's true right there, because when you're thinking about it, a lot of times when we look at this internet culture today, when we look at social media in general, it is so predicated on the images. It is so predicated on fast frequency of the express lane of entertainment. It is so premised on a, how I want to say this, maybe even a fad of what is going on. So
Yeah.
people usually get led into a false sense of security about what they feel is going to be let me reword that. People tend to think that the success comes fast because of the outlets that they have, and sometimes, like you said, it does. But
Yes,
then
it does.
it's also about keeping the audience's attention after you have it.
Exactly.
Because we've seen so many groups drop songs, or artists for that matter, and and some they have, like Sheck West with what he did, with his joint, and that became an anthem, but we really haven't heard anything from him, and that was years ago when he dropped it.
Yeah.
But look what he did with it. um but it's like, it's about being able to catch the audience's attention, but then building on that. Sometimes you have artists that are just looking to just make a modest splash, and some do make careers. Obviously, you're in this doing it for the longevity of it. Flower, we just see you in the chat. Hey girl, how's Coachella? What's going on? So yeah, man. So from you having your, obviously getting the attention, what is it like in terms of translating that into shows and actually getting out there and really meeting and interacting with the people?
For me, I look at it as far as like with that whole like what you just spoke about, the social media and everything having to keep everyone's attention. I look at it like high school. So it's like, all right, the summer was cool. Someone seen me hit a couple shots on the court, and I got a fresh pair of jumping. I got some shoes, or I got a nice little Da Vinci jacket. But the most popular person who's all American, or that one cheerleader who's about to be, the top flight of everything, they walk through the hall. And here I go at my locker, and they look at me and just nod. And everybody see that individual look at me and nod, and they keep it moving. I'm not going to get big headed to come up to them or feel like I can approach them when we're eating lunch or whatever and want to spark a conversation like we're going to be best friends. I know that it's not going to do that. Experience taught me that. Experience in life taught me that. So I'm not going to go up to the top jock or like anybody like that, or like Steph Curry. You know what I mean? He look and say so. I'm not going to just hound him down every time I see him. No, I'm not going to do that. So that's what's going to as big as the buzz get or whatever, it's got to be on demand. For me, it has to be on demand. I'm not gonna run to this state or run to that state for a certain amount of money. If it's going to be for sure, it's going to be worth it because I have a lot of things to take care of. So I'm not gonna just do that just to, you know what I mean? So it's like the couple people that's locking with me, then they got to eat like I got to eat. Then I got to pay for security. I got to pay for this. I got to make sure I'm straight, make sure I'm not. All that is a factor in there. So all that I got to take into consideration. But I also know that this high school, you know what I mean? A couple people looked at me like on my IG or whatever, a couple jocks or well-known people. I'm not going to say nothing to them. I'm not going to say anything to them because I know what comes with that. I mean, it's a high school. I may say something to them, I may fall, or everybody will laugh. You know what I mean? So I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, that's what I do. I keep that in the forefront of my mind. Because that whole social media thing, it's crazy. I mean, that's something different.
It's
different.
It's crazy. Man. It's crazy. You said that, Don, because my brother, he posted something the other day about popularity and how important it is to really understand when you're moving on things and making sure that where you go, that it actually, there's a difference between being internet famous and being actual famous.
Right.
Because wherever you translate it to in terms of where you travel, you got to make sure that you as an artist, we respect your art. We thank you for being with us. And we know we want to make the most of your time with you being with us. And we know this is something that whatever you approach in business, that it has to be worth it. And like you said, there are expenses that you have to take care of, like you said, making sure that all the essentials, making sure you're in a safe lodging, to make sure you have security, and then making sure that where you go, that your audience, and that there will be, that it's going to be, profitable for all parties involved.
Exactly.
And that's
And
important.
just give people a good time. Give people a good time. Let everybody know we just here to have fun. At the end of the day, it's like a job. If you come work your job, you don't act crazy in your job. You come to your job and then you go home. Everybody get home. That's just it.
Absolutely. What is your opinion of artists out there who try to act like they're more than what they are on social media, but really, really do not have the popularity that they try to present to the audience at large?
I think for those artists, that right there is they gotta learn by experience. I mean, they would know that like if they was to go somewhere and they would know if the reception is well received or if it's not. I think that's what they would know. Like for me, nobody outside of where I'm from know of me. I've been a lot of places. People do not know. But if I was to go there, that most people would know. But I'm like, oh man, that's dude from, you know what I mean? So I think it's all about low profile. It's like not to, I mean, it's popular. It's just high school. That's it. I look at the whole thing like high school. At the end of the day, I'm not finna, just because I got some, a new fit on Monday, I got to worry about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If I wear that same thing on Tuesday, then it's all shot to hell. So, yeah, it's like you wear the same thing in high school, or what I mean, it's crazy. So.
And that's funny, y'all, because when we look at it, that's the element of entertainment. And I know this is going to be unpopular when I say it. That's the part of the entertainment industry that I hate, because the thing is, this is the thing that everybody has to understand, because when we look at the entertainment industry, it's based on a lot of levels of that over the top element of it. In the words of the great Lemmy, rest in peace, from Motorhead, and I never forgot this, and this is how it correlates. He said, if you want to be a rock star, go be one. People don't want to see a fucking guy next door. They want to see a being from another planet.
Yeah.
So when people look at you, people tend to forget between that aura of celebrity and notoriety that these are regular people. These are people that, it may look like they have the money or this and the other, but a lot of times, the biggest thing people don't understand about this is that, and we're not trying to shade anybody, we're just speaking real facts. A lot of these people don't have that kind of money that everybody thinks that they have. A lot of those outfits, they have, that's, their wardrobe may be limited. But by the same token, does that make them less of an artist or an individual because they don't have the means that everybody else has? Not everybody has the same access to resources. And at the end of the day, everybody's starting point is different for where they're jumping off trying to get to that platform.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
And I think the shallow nature of the industry and its bad side, because there's a lot of great sides to it that we've been blessed to be a part of. But the part of the shallowness of it, to me, is what I don't like. Because,
it's all about image.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody gonna say, well, such and such had on that outfit, at this other club. I'm like, well, depending on the circumstances, that outfit is still more than what you made in a month. And they actually could afford it. I don't look at nobody for what they got on. My thing is, are you a dope artist? When you put on a show, can you perform? Do you have a personality?
It's all about the music at the end of the day.
Exactly. And how you really, really resonate. We were looking at that video with Kai Cenat, and Kai Cenat's all in Brazil acting crazy. And it's like, them people looking at it like, who this
goofy dude?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That just goes to show you that the internet is a real small universe if you really break down the dynamics of the world. A lot of people and usually what we give them the airport test. Me and T laugh about this.
Yeah.
If you pulling up to the airport and nobody's running for your autograph, you're not a star.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and that right there is, and that's That's like the most humbling advice that anybody can get without finding that offensive. Um, like for me, perfect example. I'm like, I'm gonna do a joint for his Chi Not Che. I'm gonna do a video for every spot. But I had to
Hmm.
think about it like nobody knows me in Puerto Rico, so why the fuck I'm gonna go to Puerto excuse my French, but why I'm
No,
gonna go to
it's
Puerto
off the cuff. Say
Rico,
what you feel. Say what you
you know,
feel. Go
so
ahead.
why the hell I'm gonna go to Puerto Rico to do Hola Mami? And it's like I could do it in Miami, on Cali Ocho, I could do that, but what would come with that? I would need security because I gotta watch my surroundings, and it's like I had
Right.
to come back and rethink everything. Like, okay, I'm not gonna Puerto Rico, most definitely, I'm not gonna go there to do that. I know a couple people there, but not a couple people to where I'm comfortable. And
Right.
that's the same
Right.
thing even in Miami. I know a couple people, but these guys got jobs. So it's like, and a couple women, it's like they strip off. I don't know what guy you involved with that's gonna be like, oh yeah, he coming here, let's hit him. No, we're not doing that because I don't want to put no one else in jeopardy or somebody stupid or something happen. So I think that yeah, that's true though. Yeah, that's true. I don't get offended when I hear things like that because it's a learning process for everyone, even the artist or the non-artist. It's like I'm not finna go there, and it's like, nah, that was the exact thought that I had about Puerto Rico. I'm like, I'm not finna go there. I know two people there. I don't know all of Puerto Rico. Everybody gonna be looking like, who is that? You know?
Man, but that's real shit though. And that's
Yeah.
the level of awareness and consciousness, Don, that you had in making that point is so profound. Um, that Schoolboy Q interview that he did with Drink Champs a while back, Schoolboy told it like it was in terms of when, heads be coming to LA and they be talking to, and basically what he was saying in so many words is don't go any place where you don't know what's going on. This whole checking in business, some would say extortion, but on the other hand of it, checking in is the extortion term. Tapping in is what we call you have genuine homies, because when you tap in with your homies, anytime you go somewhere you don't know, you tap in with your people there to let you know what's going on.
Exactly.
Because the most dangerous thing, and I think a lot of artists really need to understand this, and this is game for humanity in the profession. Niggas don't give a fuck about your street reputation depending where you
No,
go.
they don't. No, they don't. It's like you're in uncharted territory, and
Exactly.
I lived on the low end, and I was out east, and that was stemmed my assassination attempts being on the low end because my family was on the low end, so I had to, make get that situation together on that, and when I was out west, I was out east, but it got to a point to where I can go to all three areas and be cool. But that's there. That's not nowhere else. Perfect
Right.
example. Another thing, like when I went to Cali, I done Equilibrium and Proof video. And we was in Santa Monica, and Beam was like, who is, who the fuck is them niggas? Yada yada yada. So my cousin is like, hey man, who the fuck is dude now? Yada. It was like, because everybody was out there. A lot of people was out there. 12 was even out there looking. We had the drone out there. It was in a double R. Everybody was out there looking. And it was like 15 dudes over there. So I guess one of the dudes come up and it's crazy. And that's what I told my cousin right after that on the way back to the room. I'm like, this shit is meant for me to do it, because what would be the odds of the guy coming? I went to school with this dude out west in Chicago. I'm like, I know you Junior. And he like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I know you Junior with the, he got some gold eyes. You won't forget him if you saw him. And I'm like, yeah, I know you. We went to school together. So it went from some whole finna be about a whole incident to we going to school with each other. We got each other IGs, and that was it. I'm like, damn, I went to school with this dude. My cousin like, hey, you talk like you know him. I'm like, I went to school with this dude. I'm like, that won't happen everywhere for everybody. You know, it's like I could go to New York. I don't know nobody there. The old girl I know that I knew there, she don't live there anymore. So it has to be like the whole thing. I'm not affiliated with other shit. I'm from Chicago. Our system is different from how it is in Cali, in New York, down south, in Atlanta. That system, the Midwest system, is different. You know, but certain experience can apply to certain places, and I think most artists don't know that, and it's unfortunate because that's how, you know, rest in peace to all of fallen soldiers, that stuff like that happens because most people aren't aware of that.
It can even happen in your own hometown. We're not going to say this
Yeah.
artist's name, but it's a prominent West Coast artist who did a video in his hometown. If I say his hometown, everybody's gonna know who it is, and we're not trying to out nobody. But but basically, what it was that there were, if you look closely at the video that he did, it's really shot in one area in terms of it because, and we had one of our partners out there who told us what was going on with the video shoot that day. And he was like, they kept it real. They made sure in terms of that particular part of the hood, that he stayed in that particular area because he not cool with everybody outside them other areas.
Yeah.
And they had to keep it in one particular part, you know, because it was finna be a problem if he get outside that one particular, you know, block. So you have to be conscious about it because the biggest thing is there are two elements when shit goes left. This is one thing artists have to understand. It's reputation and then perceived riches, which they're going to try to come off of. Either they got a rep for robbing you or they got a rep for punking you because of who you are. Yeah. And there have been situations that have been documented. There have been situations that we've been told about off air about people getting hit when they were in somebody else's spot. And you have to be conscious of that because a lot of these dudes out here, they wolves with a carnivore appetite. And if they see something, that steak of dangling that they can get some meat off of, they're going to run for it. And you don't want to put yourself in that position where, you know, something can happen. Because at the end of the day, this is about you trying to further your profession in a pragmatic and positive and progressive way without any negativity. In terms of you getting your stuff out there and going to certain places, who are some of the people that you've met along the way in the industry that you've really been able to kind of, if not make music with, at least develop a relationship with?
It's a couple guys. Away from High Beam, I kind of like know like how the system is and how it works, the whole high school situation. So I don't want to like develop certain relationships with like most people, whatnot. Like Lil Nate Dogg, he cool. So that was business. We chopped it up. That was business. We got that AK or Do or Die. That was business. That was that. The main guy that I chop it up with is High Beam. A couple other guys that I've spoken with. It's still high school. You know, Mano just hollered at me, you know, and I'm like, it's still high school though. This is still high school. I'm still in high school. This whole thing, you know, so they like what I got on Monday. I got to be sure not to wear it Tuesday. I got to be sure not to wear it next Tuesday in the next month. I got to not wear this no more. So it's like, I know exactly what's what. So I'm just aware of my whole surroundings in the streets taught me that, even coming up and being aware around everything and like survive as much as I survived in that short little stint of time. You know, they tried to knock me off like 4 times, you know. Damn. So not one, not twice, no, 4 times. You know, I mean, I got hit one time, a couple times, but I'm still here, you know, everything. I mean, it's just another day at the office.
When you I think people have to understand that a lot of times, even when you get away from the industry, well, not getting away, but when you're trying to get away from the hood and get into the industry, those ties, those beefs can still be out there. Um, we look at guys like E40, staying out in Vallejo, the Bay Area legend. This was years ago when he did an interview for Double XL magazine, and he was just talking about how he didn't want the location of his house printed because he said there's still haters out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Mitchie Slick representing Lincoln Park, San Diego. The whole wrong kind. CJ, Meatface, Mob Boss G, Oso Ocean, that whole clique. Mitchie talked about how, because Mitchie is, Lincoln Park blood, 10 toes down with it. But, and Mitchie is one of the dopest out there. But Mitchie talks about how he still has to watch himself out there in them streets.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something you have to understand in terms of knowing that it's one thing when you have a street reputation that is earned and you're trying to go legit, but you may still have those ways. And then when you actively pursue problems with people, what is your opinion, Don, about where you have a lot of these artists today who seem to be actively pursuing problems and then sometimes catching severe punishment because of pursuing those problems with other artists?
Yeah, I think that for artists like that, I think that's just some whole clout shit. That's just for recognition, like in the moment or whatnot, and yeah, they just doing it just for recognition or some clout chasing shit. Like me, Chicago out east, they know what I'm doing. I don't say none to none of them people. It's like they hit me up. I don't say shit to them because the transition was already made. If I'm doing music, why I'm gonna pull back to, oh yeah, this was, we did this. This is Don City, we this, and a couple people that done traveled up here still still talk about, oh yeah, right there on Elliott. You know what I mean? It's like I don't even put the shit in my raps. It's like I don't put that in. I'm address a couple things, as far as the past, but everybody know what it was with me. I don't want to put that shit in there because I don't want those people that was already back there. I left that shit back there. That shit was out east. That shit in Don City. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm not gonna bring that with me because that's when everybody else from Don City figure that they can come, and that's when all the I'm back in the same ship where I got away from, where I wanted to get away from. I wanted to do a whole complete transition. All that. I'm not bringing all that with me because everybody can't go.
That's real. Because we see a lot of times, they say when you're in the industry that if you really got a real reputation, nobody questions it. When we looking at guys like Wu-Tang Clan, we look at guys like Jay-Z, Griselda, shout out to Benny, Westside, and Conway, City Boy, Street Soprano, that whole clique, great people. The Locks. You don't ever hear anybody question their street credibility in terms of where they really out there.
Right.
So they don't necessarily need to get out there and say this, that, and the other. Because one thing about it is if you're real out there, everybody knows it. Conversely speaking, if you are not real like that, then, there's going to be some questions in terms of, who, like if you say you was moving this weight on this block, everybody going to be like, such and such ain't do that because I was there too.
Yeah, you're going to get approached. They're going to get approached. It's just simple as that. They're going to get approached.
You're going to let the music speak. You got to let the music speak for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
We see Eris in the chat. Hey, Eris. Hey, baby. Thank you for
putting us
up with them. Hey, we appreciate you. Yeah. But, that's something that I think a lot of artists, if they really, really took the time to understand how this works, the music should be a reflection of who you are as a person, to really, 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 and I think this is the problem that we have in the culture right now today. There is such an over emphasis on the most extreme cases of street exploits and even blatant disrespect, because some of the shit we're seeing artists do on wax is just uncalled for in terms of what they're saying, what they're doing. Where to me, it's a lot of crass theatrics that are a substitution for real talent.
Exactly.
Which is why we see, I think, a lot of these artists come and go so quick, because you can only have a sensationalism for so long before substance has to follow. Because if there's no solid foundation of a real talent and all you're doing is just simply trying to be over the top. I mean, we look at what happened with Tekashi. Shout out to Sean Sotero. If you did not get his book, Dummy Boy, go get it. We had Sean on about 5-6 years ago. Great guy. And when he wrote the whole book about Tekashi and that whole story, because to hear Tekashi tell it, he was like this whole street dude and everything. And then, when this whole case, everything breaks out, when he gets arrested. And then, then we find out like this dude was nowhere near the street dude that he was trying to proclaim himself to be.
Right.
And now he's in more trouble because of the stuff he done did after he got in trouble.
That's a whole character right there, though.
Yeah.
For people that want to get entertained, I mean, if they like entertainment, I
they
mean,
love the car crash.
The car crash.
Yeah.
But
going forward, man, what do you have lined up going into the summer?
I have I'm going to Bleed Is Chinache Volume 1 a little more. I'm pulling back on Diamond Life because at the end of the day I want everything to be done right. It's a couple producers and a couple features that's going to be big, to where again people going to be like, how, the doubt, which I love, but that shit fuels me, as far as like, how can I make that move if I'm not doing this anymore? Because what that is what that shit over there, I can't do both. So I think that I have to pull that back. But I want to release like Diamond Life, the single, in a couple months. I think a couple months. I may do that just to, because right now what I want is a stone effect. When you skip a stone in a pond, or everything ripples, I want it like that. I think that I'm going to take that approach with the music, so once they see them ripples, then here come another one, and that's going to bounce off that one. So I think that that's the approach that I'm going to take now, without having the people forget me, because everybody's attention span is too short nowadays. Everybody's so quick on what's the next drop. It's like, you ain't even digest the first, chew your food before you swallow. So yeah. But I got I was thinking to just release like all like 5 projects this year. I'm like, hell no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do one more this year, and then wherever the chips fall, they fall. If the demand is big enough, the larger the demand is, then I know that's when I'm gonna like actually like get up, get out, start doing other stuff, as far as like shows or whatever. But I'm not gonna do nothing for nothing less than pennies, because it's like shit costs money nowadays, so it's feasibly not even worth it to kind of like, unless it has to be like on my terms, and I got to put the money in, and I got to see everything before even the moves is even conceptualized.
Yeah. And that's important, man, because at the end of the day, you always want a situation that it makes sense, because that's the hard part about the business. You always have the ideas, but you got to make sure in terms of those ideas, in terms of the means of doing it, that for real, that financially it's feasible to do it.
Yeah. and it has to be a demand, you know. So music moves so fast. It moves so fast, but everything is music, so it moves so fast. So if it's not in demand, then I'm gonna pull it back. I don't want to force some. I don't eat asparagus. I use that analogy a lot. I don't eat asparagus. I don't eat okra. Don't put that shit on my plate. If I'm going through a buffet, don't put that. Or I don't even want the whole plate. It could have like three things that I like, my favorite foods. But once asparagus or okra is on the plate, or beets or some nasty shit like that, I don't want it. I don't even want the whole plate. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, and that's important, man. People, I guess when we look at where it is now, from a perspective of what they feel as a means to maintain attention. But like you said, if it's too much at one time, appetites get full because you want to leave, like what they say in show business, keep them wanting more. If you do too much, it's overexposure and you ruin the buffet. It's okay. People got to understand it's okay to step back sometimes. Hell, it's a good thing to step back. Right. You know, because if you become too available, you become a habit. When you become a habit, everybody's used to
too predictable.
Yeah, and it's predictable. People are used to it, so it's like make them, keep them wanting more. Use the art of, and Robert Greene wrote this so eloquently in the 48 Laws of Power. Scarcity is power. Don't make yourself too accessible. Don't bring too much and don't be gone too long, depending on the circumstances. Right. Have something where there's a level of your legacy that is shrouded in mystery, that when you pop out, not only do you pop out, you make an explosion when you come on the scene. And that's how you maintain the relevancy.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's important, man. So ultimately in the industry, Don, who would you like to work with?
Who I would like to work with, that depend on like the coast. If I'm over there, New York, it'll be Cam. Out there in the Bay or LA, to Rapid Forte, I still want to do a joint with that man, and Ice-T though, most definitely.
Man.
Down south, Chamillionaire. That's it.
Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to put that into the atmosphere. It's gonna eventually come through.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, but I still know this high school, and I know everybody busy. Everybody got a lot of, so some slide across somebody's desk. Then they reach out to me. Then I know I'm up at bat. I'm up to bat. So.
Yeah, as we know, we about to wrap the hour up. You have any shout outs you want to give up?
Yeah, shout out High Beam. Shout out my man's High Beam. We got a lot of music coming. Shout out UBO, Aries, and that shout out Off the Cuff for having me.
We appreciate you. Don, thank you again so much for being with us. Aris of UBO, we love you so much. Thank you again. Don, you're welcome back anytime. Please come back soon. We would love to have you back.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're most definitely gonna, we're gonna get something going once I release this next single. It's a lot. It's gonna be a lot coming. But yeah, I most definitely would love to come back.
Absolutely. Thank you again so much. Thank you.
All right, brother.
No doubt, man.
Stay safe, man.
All righty, Brother King, take us out of here.
Yeah, we about to peel up out of here. So you can catch me tomorrow on Screwball Radio, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, 8 Central Time. And you can catch more episodes on Off the Cuff Radio next week, as well as subscribing to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Spotify. Tidal. We everywhere.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, thanks,
until next time. Thank y'all. Thank you again. All right. Next time, same OT time, same OTC channel. Later. Peace. God bless.
Peace.
Peace.